Oh, kuatnya. Okay, so I have a few chat here. Doktor dah start recording ke belum? Thank you, Shaki. Okay, thank you for reminding me. Okay, so moving on to the rectangle component method. And first of all, I showed you animation lah kot, where I added like a bunch of vectors A and B and C. Don't remember how it looked like, but macam ni lah lebih kurang. So vector ada triangle on the top, dia ada topi, and then my resultant was from the initial point of where I started drawing my vector to the end point of the vector addition of the last vector lah basically. So if I were to write this in an equation form, it would look like this: A, B, C. So tempted to say Chokodok Basi, but no, it is equals to resultant vector. Equals to resultant vector. And this addition can also be not in this order. A plus C plus B will also result in our resultant vector. And we discovered this. Kita dah try flip around the arrow semua. And we discovered the resultant is still the same no matter the arrangement. So that's great. So now I want to talk about the resultant vector. So the resultant vector, when I clicked on the animation, if you guys remember, it told me that Rx is equal to contoh je lah, 13, and Ry is equal to Rx is minus 13, and Ry is equal to minus 20. So it gave me these values, and I'm wondering where did it get these values? So sebenarnya ada method dia, it's called the component method, whereby I can take a vector, resultant ni vector, so I can take any vector for that matter. I can take any vector and I can know what is the x and the y components. Can know what is the x and y components, provided that I know what is the angle with respect to the x-axis. Okay, I can know the x and y component of a vector, provided that I have the angle, have the theta with respect to the x-axis. Okay, so assuming that we know what it is, let me draw the angle really quickly. So with respect to the x-axis, my angle is over here. This is supposed to be a straight line that which overlaps with the x-axis. Okay, x-axis. So my angle is over here, right? It's over here, and it gives me like, no, it's not going to be 30. It's greater than 90. Can't think. Tengah hari kan, 100 degrees lah. Okay, let's say it's 100 degrees. So provided that I have this angle, I can actually say, okay, I know what Rx is and I know what is Ry. So how do I do that? So ada equation dia. Yay, ada equation. So moving on to the equation. So Ax or Rx can be found by multiplying the value, the magnitude of R. Okay, kita ada resultant kan? Resultant kita ada magnitude and also direction. Okay, magnitude and direction or the angle. Okay, so if I know what is the magnitude, I put it inside this equation, and this is where you put in the angle. Okay, so let's go back to our example. Ax equals to A cosine theta. Sorry, A cosine theta will give me the component x. A sine theta will give me the component y. So I can find out the x and y component of any vector, provided that I know the magnitude and the direction of the vector. So let's take a look. Let's go back to our example here. So I said to you, I told you that if I want to find out what is the x component, I have to multiply the magnitude of r with its direction. And if I want to know what is the magnitude, what is the y component of r vector, I need to multiply the magnitude with the sine of the angle. Okay, so for instance, we said that this is 100 and our R punya value magnitude is 45. Okay, so this is the magnitude and the angle of R is 100 degrees. Okay, so let's find out. So here our 100 degrees is below the x-axis. So ini macam tricky sikit lah. Tapi tak apa, we'll just try first. So R is 45 cosine of 100. Okay, cosine of 100 and y or the y component of R is 45 sine 100 degrees. So make sure your calculator is in degrees mode. Jangan pakai radians pula tiba-tiba. So nanti jawapan salah. So calculator. Okay. Okay. Can someone tell me what is the value for this? Because I don't have a trusty calculator right now. What happened? Anyone? Can anyone help me with the value here? It's supposed to be easy.
Negative.
Negative.
7.814.
814. And what about the y?
44.316.
44.316. Okay. So it's a positive, right? Is it positive?
Yes.
Okay. So ni kalau saya cakap is a positive 100. What happens if I change my angle to negative 100? Sebab angle kita kat bawah kan? So let's see what happens to our calculator. Okay, stop. Good. Okay. So bear with me. This is a journey untuk kita faham benda Allah ni. Banyak sikit benda nak kena buat. So Rx kita ada dua situasi kat sini. Apa jadi if we put just 100 degrees and what happens if we put this cosine minus 100? What happens? Sine minus. Okay. Anyone help me with the values here? I'll try as well. Dapat sama ke tak sama?
Cos tu sama.
Sine sama.
Sine sama. Sine sama.
Sine ada negatif.
So sine ada negative. So for the y component, you get a negative 44.316, and for the x component, it's still a negative. Okay. 7.814. Okay. Okay. But we see that the x component is a negative. It means that when we have a negative x component, it means that it's going to the left. And when we have a positive y component, it means that it's going up here. So ry, rx. And the vector must always be sandwiched in between these two components. So if I were to look at this diagram, this is the r that I'm expecting, but here in this diagram is going down. So it's different. And so the equation doesn't work in this case. So let's see for the second case. Oops, sorry. Bear with me, dia macam panjang sikit explanation kat sini. Kita nak kena faham the direction. So what about this guy? So Rx minus 100, I get a negative x component. So negative x component, let's just plot for that. Negative x component goes to the left, right? Rx. And then the y is also going downwards. So if my y punya value is negative, it goes down. ry. So my vector r must be sandwiched, must be in between or sandwiched in between these vectors. So does this look better? So it looks like the second way of doing it is correct, right? It seems like this one is like, okay, this looks like it's making sense. Whereas if I solved it using the positive 100, it gave me a vector that is pointing upwards. Whereas we know that our vector is pointing downwards. And remember, vector, kalau direction salah, is totally wrong. It's not the same thing. Vector must be equal in terms of magnitude and also in terms of direction. Okay, so with that said, if your angle of your vector is below the x-axis, you need to put the negative sign. Okay, you need to put the negative sign. Okay, so that's one thing. Let's do another example. I know ramai lagi yang tengah blur. Lagi-lagi tengah hari ni, design. I want something that is blank. Slideshow. No, not slideshow. Design. Pergi blank tu. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do another example. So I gave you what just happened just now. Ada orang macam, what's going on? Why is Dr. doing another example? So what happened is I added a bunch of vectors A, B, C, and I got the resultant, right? And I wanted to know what is the X and Y component of my vector R. So I tried using the equation that the book gave me, which was this guy. If I wanted to find X component, A cosine theta. If I want to find the Y component, A sine theta. So that's what I did. I tried using the equation. So we did this in two approaches. The first one, we used positive 100 degrees because this is what the angle with respect to the x-axis is. And I use a second approach, which is negative 100 because I figured, okay, it's down, it's below the x-axis, so it shouldn't be the same as if it's up here. This is positive, so this should be a negative, right? So this is what I did. I put in a negative 100 and it looked like it made sense. Okay, so that is one example. So let's try another example, one that is positive or like going the other way. So draw. Okay, so I have another vector. This vector is called Z. Why not? So this is my vector Z. My vector Z with respect to the x-axis is, let's say, it's 75 degrees. Okay, 75 degrees. This is with respect to the x-axis. And the magnitude of Z is, let's say it's 16. Okay, so what am I expecting here? I'm expecting a Y component, sorry, an X component over here, ZX, and a Y component over here, ZY. Why am I expecting the Y component to be going up and the X component to be going to the other side? Because I need my vector, I need my Z vector to be in between those components. It always has to be in between. Remember our tail to tail component, sorry, our tail to tail method. If I have A and B, I have A and B, the resultant is always in the middle. Sama juga kat sini, I have my ZY and my ZX. So my resultant, or in this case, my Z vector, is over here in the middle, in between the components, right? Because ZX plus ZY is equal to Z. Okay? So now this is what I need to happen. ZX plus ZY addition equals to Z. Z vector is our resultant. So I'm expecting a positive Y component and I'm expecting a negative X component. Something that is going up is a positive Y, going down is a negative Y. To the right, to the, you can write, to the, I don't know which one is right. To the right is positive X, to the left is negative X. So it's going to the left, so we are expecting a negative X component and a positive Y. So let's try that. And the angle is above the x-axis. So let's just keep it at positive 75. Okay, so let's try the equation. So zx equal to z cosine theta. In this case, our z is 60. That's our magnitude. Cosine 75. Okay, I need someone to calculate that for me. And then zy is equal to z sine theta, where z is 60, sine 75. Dia lebih 90. Kenapa jadi 75 pula? Kenapa korang tak tegur saya? So this shouldn't be 75. It's more than 90 degrees. Let's say it's 110 lah. Okay, 110 degrees. Kalau 75, dia bukan angle macam tu. 110. Okay, can someone calculate that for me, please? 110. Okay, so what's the answer? I'm expecting a positive y and a negative x. Masing-masing tengah menang. Itulah pasal. Korang jangan termenung sangat. Benda ni penting.
Untuk cos negative 20.
Negative 20, okay.
0.521.
0.521. For y?
56. 0.381.
381. Okay, so this is the answer. Thank you so much untuk yang membantu saya tadi. So here we see that our x component is minus 20, which matches our expectation, right? It matches our expectation. And our z is a positive. Oh, sorry. Our z is a positive. Sorry, our y component is a positive because it's going up. So that makes sense. Now, let's try another example. This time, please jangan termenung. Please catch if I make any mistakes. Okay, kita buat example yang susah sikit lah this time. Cik, susah sikit. Padahal dari tadi susah kan. Okay, kejap. Kenapa pen saya tak bergerak? Okay, so this is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. And I am drawing a vector which is, which side have we not tried yet? Okay, I want to try over here. So I have a vector over here. My a vector magnitude is 20 and the angle is 90. Is my angle correct or not?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
So if it is 30 degrees, what should be my angle?
210.
210.
110. 210, 180 plus 30. So you get 210. So this is with respect to the x-axis, positive x-axis, yeah? So moving this way. So you get 210 degrees. If this guy over here is 30. So I should label that with another different color. So this is 30, yeah? So 200 and...
Doktor, nak tanya.
Yep.
Dekat atas yang magnitude tu kan, tak payah letak topi juga Ke memang kena ada ke lupa ke tak payah?
Magnitude tak payah topi.
Oh, alright.
Thank you for that question. Good question actually. Bila saya buat gambar, bila saya buat modulus sign tu kan, it means that I just want the magnitude. It's no longer a vector. A vector always has direction, right? So when I just talk about the magnitude, there's no direction associated, so it's not a vector, it's just a magnitude. So let me draw this nicely lah. So this one is 210. Okay, and this guy over here inside, which is going to be super small. Let me just try my best to make this nice. Okay, 30 degrees. Okay, yay, we managed. Okay, so what if I wanted to find out the angle with respect to the positive x-axis, but from this side? Can I do that? Boleh ke tak boleh? Yes or no?
Boleh kot.
Yes.
Tapi kena letak negatif.
Boleh.
Negative. So does it become minus 210? or
My
Minus 150.
becomes 150 minus 150. Okay, kita try. Minus 150. Saya yakin dengan jawapan ni. Tapi kita kena test dulu lah jadi ke tak. Okay, so we know that it can be 210 or it can be 150. But because we are measuring the angle dari bawah, okay, we're going the other way around. So it's a negative 150. So let's try it. So AX is equal to, can someone give me the equation? Or should I call someone? Anyone? What's the equation for AX?
20
20
cosine 110. 20
cosine
cos
110. Okay. What about the Y component?
20 sine 210.
20 sine 210. So, okay. I need someone to calculate that for me. And then let's try the other angle, which is minus 150. AX is 20 cosine minus 150. Need that answer. AY equals to 20 sine 150. Now, based on this vector, what are we expecting? Are we expecting a positive X or a negative Y? What are we expecting here?
Negative. X and Y negative.
X and Y negative, okay? If that is your expectation, let's see. So we have our expectation over here, a negative X and a negative Y. Okay, so let's find out what is the answer. What is the AX for this guy? Anyone?
Negative 70.
Negative 70. Point tadi.
0.3. 0.321.
0.321. Okay. What about the Y?
17.
For 70. Itulah saya tengok 20 je. Macam mana jadi 70? Okay. What's the next one? Thank you.
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Okay. What about the down one? The X component for the 100 minus 1.
both same, doctor.
Both the same.
So we just proved that we can actually use either the angle from the top, from the positive and going anti-clockwise, or we can use the angle that we are measuring clockwise from the x-axis. But if we are measuring from down here, it should be negative. If we are measuring from here, it should be positive. Okay, great job everyone. So jawapan dia sama kan, minus 10. Right. So now I want to like I want to test you guys a bit. So this is A vector, this is B vector, this is C vector, and this is D vector, and this is E vector. Okay, so I want you guys to tell me, what do you expect the X and Y components to be? Is it going to be positive or negative or what? Or like 0 or what is the expectation lah basically. Okay, so let's go on and do for vector A. So what are you guys expecting for vector A? Is it going to have a negative X or a positive X?
Both positive.
Both positive.
Positive.
So this is AX. Sorry. Tulisan buruk macam biasa. AX and AY both positive. Okay, what about B? What is the A? Sorry, what is the B?
0x component.
0x.
Component, correct. And what about the B? Y? What happens to the
Positive.
Positive.
positive? And it's just equal to B actually. Because your X component is 0, it's just basically equal to B. Okay, and it's a positive, correct. And what about C?
Negative.
Both negative.
Both negative. So CX over here, CY over here. Okay, what about E? EX is,
Y0.
the Y component is 0, correct. What about the X? is equal to E. Correct. Okay, D, last one.
But Doctor, isn't that negative E? No,
Yes, negative
sebab
E.
dia ke kiri.
Betul. Negative E. Because kat sini kita assume dia cakap pasal magnitude. Betul? Negative. Alright, what about D? Dx, dy, positive. Okay, so it should be this way and this way. Dx, dy. Okay, so your vector always has to be sandwiched or in between the x and y components. I hope that's clear for everyone. Okay, let's go back and do a little recap. What we have learned so far. We talked about this equation, right? So x component, we can find it by multiplying the magnitude with cosine of its angle. The angle is with respect to the x-axis. So this becomes positive theta. If your angle is over here, it becomes negative theta. Okay. Angle pun kena tepat lah. If you know that it is 30 over here, you have to put in minus 30. And for the positive, it will be from here to here. So that is 360 minus 30. You have to be careful with that. Make sure the values are correct. And then we already talked about how A vector is equal to the addition of its components. Ax plus ay, the addition of these two vectors gives you a component, which is how we got the tail-to-tail method as well. So A plus B gives me a resultant. I'm supposed to make this A like this. Okay. A and B gives me resultant, which is in this case is basically A vector. Okay, X and AY. Okay, so it's the tail-to-tail method basically. And it gives us this equation. And then what else? Okay, so another way of finding, so what if you have the x and y components, but you don't know what the angle is, and you want to know the angle because you want to know the direction of your vector A. You have the ax and the ay. So ax is 20 and your ay is 15. So you can find that using this equation, tangent theta equals to ay magnitude over ax magnitude, and you will get the angle. So senang je lah ini. Just using the values and use your calculator. So inverse tangent lah. Theta equals to inverse tangent of ay over ax. Okay, that's easy. And then over here, did I mention this one?
Doktor, nak tanya.
Yep.
Yang atas tu kan dia kata A equals to X component of A dengan Y component of B. A tu merujuk pada apa? Magnitude juga ke? Tapi dia tak ada apa tu punya palang P tu.
Yang awak cakap pasal tangent theta ke?
Yang slide sebelum ni.
Okay, slide sebelum ni. Okay.
Kan dia kata A equals to X component dengan Y component tu kan, di bawah tu kan. Yang A tu vektor merujuk pada, dia just tunjuk arah je lah yang maknanya.
Dia just tunjuk addition of vectors. In terms of magnitude, kita tak sampai lagi. Tapi betul, soalan tu valid. Kita nak tahu direction, kita nak tahu magnitude. But in this case, this equation does not give us the magnitude, right? It does not give us anything actually. It's just an expression to show that your AX and AY gives you A, but it does not give you the magnitude. This gives you the AX and AY component punya magnitude. This equation gives you direction of vector A, but we don't know what is the magnitude A. Kan? Kita tahu AX, kita tahu AY. We know direction of A, but we don't know what is the magnitude. So the way that we find the magnitude is by this equation. So AX squared plus AY squared will give me the magnitude of A. So this gives me magnitude, and this gives me the direction. Okay, so now everyone is like confused. Why are there so many equations? Okay, let's summarize. Okay, so what if we have vector A, right? We have vector A. Kenapa dia macam ni? Kejap. I want this to be blank, is blank. Okay. What if we have vector A and we want to know what is our AX and AY? This was our first thing that we learned for today. And what if I have AX and I have AY and I want to know what is AY, and I want to know what is vector A. So these are where the equations, kita kena tahu which equation we need to use. So draw. Okay, so if I have vector A, I have its magnitude and also I have the direction of A. So I can find out AX by A cosine theta A, and AY is equal to A sine theta A. But what if I have AX and AY and I want to find the vector A? So AX ni dia akan beri magnitude, right? Magnitude of AX, let's say it's 15, this guy is 20. The direction is always Y, the direction is always X because they are the X and Y components. So that should be intuitive lah. Okay, AX is on the X axis, AY is on the Y axis. You will only know the magnitude. So how do we find the vector A? Using the equation A equals to AX squared plus AY squared. Okay, square root the whole thing. And for the angle, it is tangent theta equals to AY over AX. That is how you find the A magnitude and also the theta A. Okay, so you have 4 equations. And these two are when you have the A vector, and these two are when you have the AX and AY. Any questions so far? Let's see. Oh, I have a lot of chat here. Minus. Oh, okay. Saya terleka. Masing-masing tengah menong. Ini kita mahukan flex. Okay. Bagus, bagus. Flex pandai tak apa. Flex fokus dalam kelas bagus. Saya galakkan. Okay. So no questions. Everyone's okay with this?
Doktor.
Yep.
Kalau guna apa ni, kalau nak cari vector A tu kan, kalau guna equation yang belah kiri tak boleh Like macam gantikan gitu.
You have the vector A and you have the lagi sekali. Sorry.
Kita kan nak cari vector A tu kan. Kalau guna equation yang belah kiri tak boleh ke? Sebab kan X component kan dah ada. Like macam kita just alih-alihkan. Faham tak? Macam terbalik-terbalikkan lah.
Kalau kita ada A vector, selalunya kita tak ada AX dengan AY. Tapi boleh je lah kalau nak terbalik-terbalikkan tu, asalkan maklumat tu cukup. If you have
okay.
Boleh je.
Okay, thank you Doctor.
Alright, ikut soalan Okay, and then vector components over here, we are dealing with 2D, which is X and Y sahaja. Kita takkan buat X, Y and Z. But dalam math, they will call the X and Y component as I and the Y component as J. And for the Z axis, dia akan panggil K. But this is math lah. Untuk kita pakai X component and Y component saja. We won't use the IJK or IJ. Itu untuk math or engineering nanti. Kalau engineering pun ada, physics ada, math ada, biology I'm not sure. Science lah, science memang akan pakai benda-benda notation. But it's nothing, it's just the X and Y. It just means that. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, so resolving into components, we talked about this in length. I think everyone understands already, so that's good. So addition using the component method. So we talked about breaking the A vector into its X and Y components. What if I have A and B and I want to add them together, but I don't want to use the tail to tail method. I don't want to use the tip to tail or the triangle law or something. I want to use the component method juga. So what do I do, right? What do I do if I want to add vectors? Basically, you have to expand this into its AX and AY. Bukan expand lah. Find the AX and the AY components. Find the BX and the BY component. And then the resultant of this guy, right? Saya punya equation saya ingat. The resultant will be AX plus BX. Sorry, abaikan dulu. The, mana saya nak tulis ni? Let me write here lah. Okay, the Rx is equal to AX plus BX and the Ry is equal to AY plus BY. Macam mana nak cari benda lah ni? Remember AX is A cosine theta. A sine theta. B cosine theta. B sine theta. Okay, you get the idea. You find these components and then for the resultant, you add them together. Rx, this is the x component of the resultant, AX plus BX. This is the y component of the resultant, AY plus BY. When you find out what is the answer to this guy, so you get the Rx and the Ry, you can find out what is the magnitude, which is Rx squared, Ry squared. Okay, and then your theta is inverse tangent Ry over Rx. Okay, so it's like remembering the steps. What do you do when you have a vector? You break it down. What do you do when you have like the components? You add them together and then find the vector again. Macam ni macam a loop. Okay, so it's quite confusing at first, but kita akan buat example, so don't worry about it. Okay, resolve all vectors into the x and y components, add all the x components, add all the y components. This is what we did just now. Don't worry, kita akan buat example later. And then find the magnitude and also find the angle. Okay. Problem solving strategy. Read and understand the question. Obviously, visualize and sketch the vector diagram if necessary. Tail-to-tail diagram is the most favorable. Betul, sebab senang. Choose a suitable 2D rectangular axis. Resolve all vectors into chosen axis. In this case, we resolve it into the x and y components. Add the component by component. Add component by component. Okay. Let's do an example. Lambat lagi nak sampai example. Ya Allah, diulang-ulang lagi. State your answer. Fine. Okay. Let's go on to the example. Okay, this one. Example 1.4. The figure shows 3 forces. Okay, let's finish this example and then let's take a break. So please bear with me. Focus, focus. Jangan mengantuk. Okay, so the figure shows 3 forces A, B, and C. So the bold kat sini. So we immediately know that it is a vector. Each of magnitudes A is 120 Newton. B vector is 96 Newton. And then we have our C vector, sorry, C magnitude is 150 Newton. So in this case, I put in the modulus sign, right? Because I don't know the direction, but I'm only putting in the magnitude. If I remove this, I can, and I will, I already did that. So the angle, I should specify the angle is 28 degrees with respect to the x-axis, positive x-axis. And then our B vector is 56 over here. Do I put 56 over here? That is my question. What should I put?
124.
124. Why? Kenapa? 124?
Sebab 180 tolak 56 tu.
Okay, so
Dan dapat.
Betul, thank you. Thank you for telling me that. So I hope everyone is aware. You do not use this angle because it is with respect to the minus x-axis. We don't want that. We want it to be with respect to the x-axis, positive x-axis. Okay, and then for C, it is going along the y-axis. So 0. Sorry, it's not 0. It's with respect to the x-axis. So it's 90 plus 180 is 270. It's not 0, sorry. Okay, so this is the angle. Ta-da! It looks like it's 0, but it's not. So ada angle kat situ walaupun dekat atas axis. So it's kind of tricky. to remember that, because I always assume that something that is on the x-axis or something that is on the axis is a 0, but it's not because we are referring to the x-axis. Okay, so we have our magnitude, we have our direction. Calculate the resultant force. Okay, A, B, C are forces. Dia semua forces. So kita nak tahu apakah addition of these forces to get us the resulting force. A plus B plus C equals to the resultant force. So that is what we are looking at. Okay, so I am going to ask people to do this calculation for me because I'm rewarding you with a break after this. New slide. Okay. So saya nak panggil nama Pay attention. I want Munira to break down A vector into its X and Y components. Okay. Saya tak ingat lagi nickname korang. So panggil saya tak Mun je lah. Munira. And then I want Zyril to break down B into its X and Y components. Jadi saya panggil, bagi tahu saya jawapan dia. And then I want Amira, sorry, not Amira, Iza to break down C. Okay, and then untuk RX, saya nak Vikram lah. So Vikram is a celebrity. So this is Vikram. And then RY kita suruh lelaki lah pula. Zairi lelaki kan? Saya lupa lah nama korang, sorry. Saya tak ingat lagi. Saya akan berusaha ingat. Okay, so Haikal lah Haikal. Haikal pun celebrity juga. So bolehlah korang pair together. And then I want the R. Fazrul. Oh, ni dah ada 3 lelaki. So next one is a girl. Okay, Fazrul. And theta of R. Saya nak suruh Amy lah. Sebab Amy suka bercakap. Betul tak Amy? So Amy is the theta. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys like 5 minutes to do your part. I will call each one to tell me how to do it. Okay. So try your best in 5 minutes. Sekarang pukul 2.51, 2.56 kita akan bercakap kembali. Macam TV tak? Okay. So all the best. And for the rest of you yang tak ada nama kat sini, please try yourself to do this question. Soalan ni sangat relevan untuk quiz korang nanti. Sangat-sangat relevan. I would say like 90% relevant.
Miss, by the way, RY tu apa?
Apa?
Miss, RY tu apa?
RY tu apa?
Sorry.
Ni. RY tu the Y component of. Okay, jap. Saya tunjuk balik. Ni tak fokus ni. Kejap.
Bukan, tak fokus.
This one. Rx is AX plus BX. And then RY is AY plus BY.
Okay.
Dia faham ke tak? Faham tak? Itulah tidur lagi.
Bukan tidur. Tak ada apa-apa lah. Tak apa. Terima kasih. Saya cuba buat
Buat.
Okay.
Miss, Doktor.
Yes.
Nanti kan kira arrow. So nak tunggu jawapan Bikram dengan Haikal dia.
Boleh. Boleh tunggu. Kalau nak buat sendiri pun boleh. Tunggu pun boleh.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, seminit lagi. Kalau ada orang yang tak boleh jawab, nama-nama ni tak boleh jawab, saya panggil orang lain So get ready. Yay, time's up. Yay. Okay. So I hope everyone tried. Okay, kena cubalah. Okay, kena cuba at least sekali. Banyak kali tak apa. Okay, Munira. Munira, can you tell me how we can find the X component of A and the Y component of A? So, put it over here. Is Munira there or not? Munira?
Ya,
Okay. Macam mana nak buat? Bagi tahu saya tuliskan. AX equals to
X sama dengan magnitude A
okay,
120 cosine 28 degree
okay.
Equal to 105.954.
954. Okay, thank you. What about AY?
AY equal to 120 minus 28 degree equal to
Sine 28. Okay, equals to
59.337.
337. Okay, thank you, Munira. That was good. Next one.
Betul.
Zyril. 96. Hello.
Miss Zaira kata dia punya link tu teruk, line dia teruk sikit. So dia pun macam tak dapat juga apa yang Miss ajar sebab line dia kata teruk.
Dia ke ni?
Ya, dia kata lah kat saya. Dia mesej saya.
Doktor nak tanya. Yang komponen Y untuk A tu kita orang dapat lain.
Oh ya ke? Berapa?
Doktor ambil berapa titik perpuluhan?
Ambil 2 minimum.
Kita orang dapat 56.34.
Oh, beza dekat ni je lah. Okay. Boleh 3-4 boleh. Kalau
56 doktor.
6 doktor. 5.
Oh, sorry. Ya, 5, 6.
Ada salah. Sekejap nak elang. Nak elang.
3, 4.
Mana? Tak nak elang. Saya dengar. Dengar dia punya. Dengar tak cakap. Dengar dia cakap. Nak cakap.
Apa ni?
Sembang apa tu?
Okay. Next one, Zairil tak dapat. So I will call out someone else. Okay, next time Zairil saya akan panggil lagi sebab Zairil belum jawab soalan saya. So dia macam orang kata postpone untuk dipanggil. Siapa? Syafika nak try? Okay, yes.
Untuk B, 96 cos 124 equal to negative 53.68.
Okay. B1.
Y 96 sin 124
Okay.
equal to 79.59.
59. Okay. Thank you, Syafika. Next one is C. Izzah. Is Izzah there?
Doktor Izzah kata mic dia ada problem.
Oh, okay, dia boleh type. Please type if you can. Izzah type Okay, in the meantime, 26.41 untuk X. Cx equals to 150 cosine 270 equals to minus 26.41. Cy is 150 sine 270 equals to, green dengan green, 147.66. Okay. Thank you, Izzah. And then the next one, lagi ke?
Doktor.
Yep.
Doktor, saya dapat lain.
Jawapan kita orang lain.
Oh, okay.
Dapat kosong.
Dapat kosong. Dapat kosong untuk?
Y dapat negatif 150.
Okay. So, sebenarnya Izzah kira macam mana tadi? Cuba cerita. So, 270. This will give me 0.
Dia tak boleh cerita tau. Sebab dia punya mikrofon.
Yelah, cerita kat chat lah. Ya Allah.
Okay. Dia kena type.
I kena rotan awak ni. Okay, 150 minus 150. Betul, minus 150. Okay, so dapat kosong sebab let's look back at the diagram. Betul, jawapan korang betul. Because C dekat bawah ni, so dia tak ada X component. Dia only have the Y component and the Y component needs to be a negative. X component should be 0. Okay, so that is your A, B, C. I hope everyone got the same answer. If not, you need to tell me. Sebab saya pun tak kira. Okay, so next is Rx and Ry. So who is doing that? Rx is Vikram, our celebrity on YouTube. Okay, Vikram, how did you find this one?
I say the answer.
The jalan kira dulu.
Okay. 105.95
Plus
minus
53.68.
53.68
Okay.
plus 0.
Plus 0.
So it's 52.71.
52.71. Okay, Vikram, I have another
271.
271. 52 point?
271.
Okay. So I have another question for Vikram. So if your answer is 52.271, where is it in the x-axis? Is it in the positive or in the negative x-axis?
Positive.
It's in the positive, okay? So Vikram said it's going this way. Okay, nanti kita tengok. Thank you Vikram. Next one, Haikal. Haikal kan? Hi. Hi is Haikal, right?
Ya, ya betul. Saya setuju.
Okay. So, saya kasih ping lah ke awak sebab awak bising. Okay, apa RY?
Saya 56.34.
Okay.
Lepas tu 79.59 tambah. Lepas tu kena tolak 15
Tak tahu apa jawapan awak? Apa?
Okey.
Minus.
Lepas tu minus 105.
105 ke 150? Ni.
150.
150.
150.
So jawapannya.
Lepas tu dapat negatif 14 point. Sekejap, saya kira balik.
Kami tunggu.
Sabar. Okey, tolak K15 dapat 007.
Minus 14.07. Point 07.
Betul.
Okey.
Okey.
Thank you Haikal. Oh dapat dah faham dah lah macam mana buat.
Betul ke?
Tahu saya tak tahu. Saya tak buat. Kawan-kawan
Tapi
awak
betul tak semua? Betul semua?
08.
08.
08.
Okey, maaf. Kenapa kena tolak 15
Sebab CY kita negatif 150. Ni ha.
Sebab CY.
Kan kena tambah semua Y komponen. Tambah AY.
Oh.
Tambah BY. Tambah CY. CY kan negatif.
Oh, faham. Patutlah.
So ni AX. Ni BX. CX kita kosong.
Okey.
Okay, everyone. Okay Alright. So next one, Fazrul rasanya untuk R kita. So Fazrul macam mana nak cari R? Kita buat kat mana? Kita buat kat sini. Okay. So Fazrul macam mana?
R equal to square root. Yang jawapan Rx tadi 52.271 squared kan plus negatif Ry tu negatif 14.08 squared.
Okay, jawapannya
dapat 54.134.
Thank you Fazrul. Betul tak? Semua orang dapat tak sama Fazrul? Dapat tak? Kalau point dapat tak jawapan R ni? Saya lain sikit. Okay, lain sikit tak apa. Tapi dapat tak? Lebih kurang. 54.1.
Dapat.
Okay, Angle. Siapa Angle? Amy.
Dan negatif 1 darab negatif 14.0758 per 52.2712. Signifikan figure dia. Okay, besok dapat jawapan negatif 15.07 degree atau 344.93 degree. 344.93.
Okay, so thank you Amy. Sangat detail dia punya jawapan dengan jalan kerja. Thank you. So RY kita tengok RX tadi, Vikram cakap RX dia positif X. And then untuk RY kita, Haikal cari dapat negatif Y. Okay, so kalau kita lukis kita punya RX and RY ni, it should look like, let me use a different color over here. Tak tempat lah kejap. I think I should go to a new slide. Okay, kita copy this part over here because kita dah tahu jawapan dia. Supposedly. Copy. Saya buat. Kejap. Copy. Okay. So now I have this over here. Okay. Alright. So abaikan yang ni. Okay, so Vikram said to the right and Haikal punya jawapan indicated that kita punya Y component, kita punya RY component is to going down. So RY macam ni and our RX goes like this. So kita punya vector R should be in between the components. So this is what we are expecting. We are expecting over here. So magnitude of R is 54.134. So this is okay. Doesn't tell us much, only the magnitude. What about the angle? The angle is given by Amy minus 15.07 or from here to here 344.93 degrees. Kalau nak pakai yang negatif ni boleh, which gives us over here minus 15.07. So dia dapat negatif kan? So nampak macam betul lah kita punya R dekat sini angle dia kurang daripada minus 90. So maksudnya dia memang dalam kuadran yang ni. Okay, now that I mentioned about quadrant. What on earth is quadrant? Quadrant ialah kita ada one circle, kita bahagikan kepada 4 sections. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So when I say, okay, this X is over here based on what Vikram said. I need a different color. This is our X supposed to be over here and this is our Y supposed to be over here. So I'm expecting my vector to be within this quadrant. And this is what we got. We got the minus 15.07 which is in this quadrant. Okay, so kita dah verify jawapan kita makes sense. Okay, everything has to make sense. Okay, now let's take our break for 10 minutes and come back at 3:21. Okay, kalau ada soalan boleh tanya. If not, please take your break, go to the toilet, get your snack, get your drink, whatever. Okay, I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Doktor,
Yes?
doktor.
Yep.
Nak tanya, kan soalan tadi kan, macam mana kita nak, saya lost dekat bahagian last sekali, macam mana kita nak tentukan yang jawapan kita tu betul?
Macam mana kita nak tentukan jawapan kita tu betul?
Yang tadi.
Mula-mula kan, remember I said I was expecting an X to the right because jawapan dekat sini positif, and I'm expecting a negative Y because jawapan saya untuk RY is negative. So bila kita ada X to the right and Y yang ke bawah, kita expect our vector to be over in that quadrant lah kan. So when we got the answer, kita dapat negative 15 which matches the expected quadrant yang kita dah tengok tadi, yang kita expect tadi lah. Faham tak?
Okay. Faham. Thank you, doktor.
Welcome. Okay, welcome back everyone. Kejap, eh. Okay, sorry, ada gangguan. So kita, based on what we have learned, we are now equipped to answer this question. Okay, so Yazid drives from Kuala Lumpur. Kenapa? Sekejap, I'm just. Okay, so now. So this question is another example. Yazid drives from aduhai, kejap eh. Saya tutup pintu pula. No. Okay, so let's start. So Yazid drives from Kuala Lumpur to Kuantan, which is 240 meter away, 240 kilometer away in the direction of 30 degrees north of east. So north of east. So if you guys don't know, north is going this way, north. I think east is over here. Yes, it is. East over here. West is this way. And this is south. Okay, south. East. East. East, west. And this is north. So when they say 30 degrees north of east, maksudnya of east ni is our reference, 30 degrees going to the north from east. So this is where it is. So it's like that. So 240 kilometer away in the direction of 30 degrees north of east. Of east. Of east. Maksudnya reference point kita adalah east. He then continues 200 kilometer away. He then continues 200 kilometer in the direction of 65 degrees south of east. South of east. So dia refer to east, tapi dia ke bawah, dia to the south. So dia merefer kepada east, tapi dia going 65 ke bawah. So it's over here. So this is the first vector. Let's just say this is A vector, this is B vector. And then, and finally 120 kilometer at 10 degrees west of south. So refer to south, dia cakap dia pergi ke arah west by 10 darjah. So 10 darjah is this much over here. And saya sendiri tak nampak, kejap. So 10 degrees over here. Okay, so this is the C vector lah, the third vector. Okay, so ni saya tunjuk dia punya how you would sketch the vector lah. So now it's asking sketch the displacement using tip to tail and tail to tail vector diagrams. Tail to tail vector diagrams. So ada dua method kita kena cuba. Using the component method, a third method, calculate the distance and direction of Johor Bahru from Kuala Lumpur. So cari Johor Bahru from Kuala Lumpur. So Yazid ni dia drive dari Kuala Lumpur pergi Kuantan, dari Kuantan pergi Mersing, and then daripada Mersing dia pergi ke Johor Bahru. So it's asking kira distance and direction of Johor Bahru from Kuala Lumpur, which is the first initial point lah, from the initial point. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's do it. Oh, saya rasa ada soalan tadi daripada Boleh ke guna tail to tail kalau ada more than 2 vectors? Tak boleh. Tak boleh. Ni saya tunjuk cara nak lukis je. And then Doktor, kalau components X or Y is equal to 0 macam mana? Ikut cara Vikram tadi. Vikram in its Rx tadi, remember Rx dia ada tambah kosong. This is when our Cx component is equal to 0. Tambah je macam biasa. Okay. Tapi kalau untuk cari angle, tak boleh cari dah lah. Sebab imagine if you put in a 0. Imagine if you put in a 0 in this equation, it would not work out lah. So if you have your Rx equal to 0, you know that the R is in the Y axis. If your Ry is 0, you know that your resultant is in the X axis. Nanti kita akan go through an example relating to this, I think. Okay, so let's do the example balik. I hope that answers that question. Hopefully. Oh mak kau, sorry. Let me copy this one sebab saya tak ingat. Sekejap korang. Okay. New slide. Okay, so let's do that example. Tail to tail method. And I really don't like this thing. Oh, sekejap. Kejap. Okay. So kita nak buat tip to tail method first. Let's try that. So let me use kalian yang senang tengok tip to tail. Tip to tail method. So we have our A, B and C. So just following this one that I sketched earlier, A is this way. Then we have our B that way. Hopefully that's right. And then our C is this way. Okay, so our resultant should be from the starting point to the end. Tapi soalan dia cakap calculate the distance and direction of Johor Bahru from Kuala Lumpur. From Kuala Lumpur. So from the starting point to the end point. So this is your resultant. So they are asking the resultant. Okay, so this is how you would sketch the tip to tail. And then the angle kena betul juga. Angle, make sure angle betul. Use your protractor to draw it. Use your ruler. Make sure you have your scale correct. And then B is 65. So this is 65, right? And then your C. C is like this. So this is 10 degrees. So this is your tip to tail method. And then move on to the tail to tail. So tak boleh, tapi tulis berlukis je lah. But you can't find the resultant. Okay, tip to tail. This is tail to tail, which is benda alah ni lah sebenarnya. You can't find the resultant using the tail to tail if it's more than 2. So basically what you can do is just draw it lah. So A, B, C. Okay, so that is your tail to tail, which you can't use to find the resultant. In this case, you can, but you need to be very, very precise. Use your ruler, use your protractor, and then use the component method pula. Let's do that. I like that one. So use that.
Doktor nak tanya, kalau dia minta tail to tail punya method, kan kita kena lukis tak dia punya X axis dengan Y axis? Ke tak payah?
Boleh lukis, tak ada masalah. Kalau tak nak lukis pun boleh.
Alright, thank you.
Okay. So let me rewrite this because saya tak ingat. So it's 240, 30 north of east, 240. So A vector is 240 kilometer. And then the B vector, okay, B vector is 200 and then 120, 220. 200 and then C is 120. Okay, now because I'm lazy, I want people to do this for me. Let's ask, okay, siapa yang saya belum panggil? Saya nak Haris Iskandar. Haris, can you find the AX and AY for us? So Haris, and then Jannah B. Okay, don't know why I put this. Nak tulis Haris ada 2 tapi Haris ada 1 je. And then now Safa C. Pecahkan kepada X and Y components. Okay, same drill just like we did before. And then saya nak Afika to find the RX. Okay. And Balkis to find the RY. Oh, seorang je lelaki. Kejap. Lagi seorang lelaki, mesti lelaki. Balkis. And then the resultant R. And the angle is, kita suruh Arif Aiman. Okay. So 5 minutes. Senang je. Sebab saya dah pecahkan kepada multiple task. So try it. 5 minutes from now, 3, 3, 8. Saya memang macam ni sebab saya tak suka melukis. So you have to be alert in my class because I will call you. So 240 and then we have the 200, 120. And then refer to this diagram for your angles. This is 65. Let's use purple. Dah 5 minutes ke? Saya pun tak ingat. Is Harith ready? Hello?
Dia type ni, dia type.
Okay, so let's see. AX is 207. Okay, kita tulis AX is minus 207.85 and AY is minus 120. Okay, thank you Harith. Tiada negatif. Oh, okay. Equals. Alright. Thank you. Did everyone get this answer? Does it look right?
Yes.
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 Look right though.
Dapat.
Positif dengan positif. Nampak betul tak? So this is your A vector. If we are trying to break it down into its component, it should be on the positive x-axis and also in the positive y-axis, which is what Harith got. So betul. Macam betul Saya tak tahu. Saya tak kira. Okay, next one. Thank you Harith. Jannah.
Untuk BX tu 200 ke 204?
200 I think. Oh, 200.
Oh tadi 204 je. Saya nak kira balik.
Alright. So kita tunggu Jannah set
Ya.
it up. This is 240 cosine 30. 240 sine 30.
Okay, Miss. Miss, my doctor.
Okay.
BX tu 200 cos negative 65. I got 84.524.
Okay. 4.
And for BY 200 sine negative 65. I got negative 181.261.
Okay. Thank you Jannah. So let's cross check jawapan Jannah. So she got BX as positive and the BY as negative. So kalau kita tengok kat sini, BX is positive and the BY is negative. So it looks right. So vector B looks right. Okay, so C is Safa. C. Safa typing ke?
Lah tak unmute lah. Okay, for C component X, 120 cos 260 equal to negative 20.838.
20.83838. Okay.
Yes. And then C component Y, 120 sine 260 equal to negative 118.177.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so let's cross check jawapan Safa tadi. So she got CX negative, CY negative. And if we look at our C, it should be CX over here and the CY should be over here, which is both negative. So nampak macam betul. Okay, so good job. So I think everyone got the positive and negative thing down, even the angles. For the angle, Safa used 260 because she was referring from the positive x-axis. So this is 90, 120, 120 plus 80, sorry, 180 plus 80, 180 plus 80, 260 lah, okay? 180 plus 80 over here is a 260. So she measured from the positive x-axis. From here to here is 260 degrees. Okay, good job. And then Afika for Rx and Balkis for Ry.
For Rx, 207.85 plus 84.52 plus 20.84 equal to 271.53 Rx.
838, okay. So 84 kan? Tadi awak sebut 84 kan? Ke tak?
Oh yes, 84.
Okay.
84.
Lepas tu Rx jawapan?
271.53.
53. Okay, thank you Afika. Next is Balkis. And then Arif. Okay. Balkis. Balkis.
Doktor,
Hmm.
saya masih bela lagi. Topik
Lagi.
ni saya kena study sebaik.
Okay. So
Sorry doktor.
okay, tak apa. Saya tanya jap. Saya nak tanya jap. Okay, awak bela kan? Okay, tapi apa yang awak faham tentang RY dengan RX ni? Apa yang awak faham?
Macam Pak CX dengan Pak CY kot.
Pak CX dengan Pak CY. Tapi dia Pak CX dengan Pak CY untuk vektor apa?
Vektor paduan.
Vektor R. Okay, kita tengah cari pasal vektor R. Vektor R ni ialah total Okay, tak apa Balkis. So saya bagi tahu jawapan. So RY is equal to apa yang ada kat sini? AY, BY and CY. Okay. So AY is equal to Balkis? Baca kat sini je. Saya dah bagi jawapan.
207.85.
207?
Bukan. 120.
120. Okay. Tambah?
200 sin.
Nah, ni.
Negatif 181.
Okay.
0.261.
Okay. And then?
Negatif 118.
Okay.
0.177.
Okay, sekarang saya tanya Balkis balik. Apa yang Balkis faham tentang RY? Pertambahan.
Pertambahan semua Pak CY kot.
Ya, betul. Thank you. Betul. Pertambahan semua Pak CY. Komponen Y. Okay, thank you. So, semua pertambahan komponen Y akan beri kita RY. Okay, thank you so much Balkis. So, sekarang,
Sorry doktor.
Tak apa. Nanti awak revise Okay, so R, kita nak tahu R daripada Arif. Dengan dia punya theta. Okay, so sebelum kita cari jawapan lah, kita tengok dulu. Rx is a positive and Ry is a negative. So if I were to draw this, right? I were to draw this, Rx is a positive over here. Ry is down here. So I'm expecting a vector R to be over here. So nanti kita tengok jawapan Arif, adakah sama dengan apa yang kita expect. Okay Arif, what's your answer? How do you find R? Ke Arif type?
Doktor. Jadi nak nak kira R, magnitude R. Okay. Jadi punca kuasa 271.53 kuasa 2 tambah negatif 179.378 kuasa 2 akan jadi 325.430.
325.430. Okay. What about theta? Saya tak tergelak juga.
Wait doctor.
Okay.
I'm calculate.
Apa equation dia?
Equation dia tan negatif 1 akan darab dengan 271.53 bahagi dengan 179.378. Negatif 179.
Okay, betul ke kawan-kawan? Kawan-kawan. Betul ke kelas? Kawan-kawan. You're not my friend. Nice
Doktor, yang RY yang dia squarekan tu patutnya negatif kat depan. Dia bukan tambah, dia negatif. So dia tolak. Kan?
Tolak. Yang ni? Okay.
Tolak. So nanti jawapan dia lain. Dia jadi 203.0 80.
Okay, tapi kan negatif bila kita square dapat
Positif.
dapat positif.
Positif.
Okay, so according to board mass macam mana korang pakai board mass kot? Bracket to the power of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, right? So here kita ada pertambahan ataupun subtraction, and then kita ada kuasa 2. So kuasa 2 kita buat dulu. Kuasa 2 kita buat dulu, so kita dapat positif. So kita tambah benda yang positif. So saya tak tahu jawapan dia apa pun sebenarnya. Kejap kita try. 7271.53.
Oh betul tak tu, saya salah.
Okay.
Lupa letak
Board
bracket
mass,
kat
Okay, board mass tau. Don't forget, this is like basic stuff Jangan lupa. Okay. Yep.
Doktor.
Yang
RY tu. RY. Belum cari total lagi.
Doktor. RY tak total lagi. Okay, sorry. Okay, so jawapan RY apa? Mana sekejap, saya letak kat sini lah. 177.
Negatif 179.44.
179.44. Okay, thank you. So jawapan sini salah. Okay. 179.
Oh, salah.
Salah nombor. Okay, tapi equation betul. Cara awak letak tu tadi betul. Okay, so jawapan R apa? 325.46. 0.46. Okay. What about the angle, Arif? Tadi you were saying? Okay.
Okay. The answer is negative 56.541.
541. Okay, boleh tak kasih saya equation cara nak cari angle ni?
Equation dia tan negatif 1 dalam kurungan 271.53 bahagikan dengan negatif 179.44.
Okay, kasih saya a more generalized equation. Apa general equation dia sebelum letak nombor? Sebelum letak nombor je, general equation dia apa?
Oh, general equation nombor 271.53.
Bukan. Macam equation ni Rx squared plus Ry squared. Kan? Square root. Okay. Equation ni apa? General equation dia.
Oh. Rx per Ry.
Rx per Ry. Okay. Kita tengok betul tak Arif punya jawapan. Jawapan dia salah. Ry over Rx kan Arif? Sebab tu saya sudah awak sebut banyak kali. Okay, so jawapan dia Ry over Rx. So jangan make this mistake. Saya perasan ramai student saya suka buat this mistake, dia terbalik. Okay, so make sure it's correct. Ry over Rx. Okay, so y over x is, jawapan dia apa Arif? Adik awak kacau.
Tak doktor, saya kalkulator saya rosak doktor. Jadi saya tengah buat dekat Google.
Oh lah ilah no. Okay. Kalau macam tu, can we have someone else to tell the answer? Kita sekapal. Okay, it's okay.
Sorry doktor.
33.46.
33.46.
Negatif
33. Betul, negatif 33.46.
Betul, dapat sama.
Dapat sama. Okay. So let's see, negatif 33.46. So angle dia kat sini lah kan sebab negatif kan. 33 macam make sense kan, it fits our prediction, so hopefully it's right lah. So I don't know the answer sebenarnya. Did everyone get the same answer?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's good. Ada tak yang lain yang perlukan penjelasan? Ada tak yang lain yang tak faham? EY. Doktor, yang R tu jawapan dia yang mana? Yang ni. Okay. Okay, so tak ada kat dalam chat tak ada soalan. Okay, any questions about this example? Yes.
Nak tanya kalau yang direction tu kan ni direction kan dia guna north east apa semua kan? Kena tulis ke to south of north ke tak ya?
Kalau kasih angle ni terus boleh, but if we had to describe it in terms of north east blah 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 semua tu, kita kena tahulah macam mana nak describe. In this case it would be, anyone wants to try? Ada tak orang nak try? Macam mana kita nak describe this direction in terms of north, south, east, west? No one wants to try? Alamak, takutnya. Okay, so this is east and this is south. Saya sebut pun tak lepas. Okay, so east and south. Okay, saya dah bagi hint. Siapa nak try?
Saya nak try, Doktor.
Okay, try.
33.45 south of east.
South of east, betul. 33.45 south of east. Of east. So our reference is of east. You are going south by 33.45 or 46. Betul, thank you. Good job. Okay, ada tak lagi soalan? Clap. Okay. So tak ada soalan Alright. Patutnya betul tak? Okay, look back at our answer pakai tip to tail diagram tadi. Kita dapat something over here, right? This is what we got from the tip to tail and this is what we got from the component method. Sama, yay. It should be the same. It should not be different. Kalau different maksudnya salah conclusionnya. Okay. Oh, multiplication pula. Okay, so multiplication will have to wait another day. So I think that is it for our class today. Unless you have any questions, then we are done. Okay, thank you everyone and have a great rest of the day. Don't forget to have your lunch if you have not. This recording will be available to you as usual. Okay, siapa yang belum?
Thank you, Doctor.
Guys. You
Thank you,
welcome.
Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Bye.
Thank you, Doktor.
Welcome. Bye.
Thank you, Doktor.
Welcome.